Good evening to everyone. Today, we are going to talk about sunrise sectors of the Indian economy. Sun Tzu writes that attacking the enemy at its weakest point offers the greatest chance of victory in an offensive operation. In a job search, which is essentially an offensive operation because you are the one who is reaching out to the prospective employer, the weakest point is in an economy is the sunrise industries where the need for people to fuel their growth is much higher as compared to the traditional businesses where employment and the demand and supply for employees is kind of matched and managed. So today we'll understand as to how to what are the sunrise sectors, how to approach them, and how to maximize our chances of getting well-paid jobs in the sunrise sectors. So we'll start this presentation today and try and understand the basics. If we talk about Indian economy as of today is one of the largest growing economy in the world. And what are the indicators of a growing economy? There is a good industrial production and capacity utilization. Increase in the industrial production and higher capacity suggests that the economy is growing fast and we are industrializing. We have around 28% of our GDP as industries and we are growing it faster. Then business investment, and India is undoubtedly attracting a lot of business investment, both from domestic companies as well as from international companies. So then employment trends by sector. So if you look at the employment trends data by industry, you can identify which sectors are the ones that are creating jobs and driving economic growth. Startups and entrepreneurship. India is now has a lot of startups. Some of them are well known because of the fact that they have achieved unicorn or multi-unicorn status. But even besides that, India has a lot of startups in different sectors. Then the purchasing manager index. This is something which is which is used by economists from the purchasing managers of the various industries, be it the manufacturing or the services, as to what kind of purchases are they making, and that helps them track the growth in the economy. And technology and innovation matrices, and India is again now started to rank high in terms of engineering innovation, in terms of pharma innovation, and similarly complex industries, and that's an indicator of the fact that we are a fast growing economy. Then the construction and real estate matrix. Those who are from the construction and real estate industry, they'll be able to see that housing, commercial buildings, overall infra growth is at quite a healthy rate in India, and that's adding to the growth of the Indian economy. Then the energy consumption. Assume that a lot of you would agree to the fact that now most of us are living and working in air conditioned offices, in air conditioned homes, in air conditioned cars, etc. And our energy consumption in terms of fossil fuels, non-fossil fuels, etc., is also growing tremendously. And our energy production has also grown quite a lot in the last 2 decades. And all these things, they come together and they create, they are the indicators of a growing economy. And India as a economy today is poised to grow at 7%, which implies that in the next 10 years, it is going to be around $7 trillion from where it is today at 3.5 trillion. And God willing, in next 20 years, it is going to be a 14 to $15 trillion economy, which is a number which will impact each and every one of us positively, and we'll see a very different country in next 20 odd years. So what are the emerging industries in this? And that's what we'll talk about. But first, let's understand that why sunrise sectors. Why is the today's discussion focused on sunrise sectors? So sunrise sectors essentially refer to industries or sectors of the economy that are in a nascent stage or early stages of development. I'll give you an example of the traditional sector, and then that will make sense. So FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, from production's viewpoint or business viewpoint, is a traditional sector. It is already established. There are a lot of established players. The supply demand is more or less matched. There is a very organic rate of growth. The industry has their products are sorted, so it's a traditional sector. On the other hand, machine learning and artificial intelligence, that's a green sector or a sunrise sector. So the sunrise sector is something which is just starting out, or maybe in very early stages of development, and it experiences rapid growth, innovation. There's a very high potential for future expansion. Now, these sectors often emerge in response to technological advancements, changing consumer preferences, or at times even shift in the global business dynamics or the global demand dynamics. And sunrise sectors are typically characterized by their ability to create new opportunities, jobs, and also markets. So they play a very pivotal role in driving economic growth, and hence they attract a lot of new investments from all the players. And that is what we'll be discussing today. So the seven sunrise sectors which we kind of identified. First is defense manufacturing. India is one of the largest defense spenders across the globe. After the top three, four economies, India spends a huge amount of money on defense. And out of this defense, the maximum capital purchases of the Indian defense sectors are done as a import. We are dependent on friendly nations to import us their weapon systems, their equipments, their machinery, etc. And that is where I would say that we have started the process of Indianization of the defense industry. So people who are from the industry now, anyone who wants to supply to the Indian defense forces, they are being asked by government to set up their manufacturing plants, at least start with assemblies, and then so the assemblies are happening in India. Then slowly manufacturing of lesser complex engineering will start happening. And over a period of time, the capacity development would reach a stage where we'll start doing very precise and complex engineering manufacturing in India. So defense manufacturing is going to the sunrise, the employment scene in times to come. Then second is construction and infrastructure. The present infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, the power infrastructure, when I say physical, means roads, airports, railways, and ports, etc., and the power infrastructure, all this presently is poised to, or it is barely supporting the present economy, which is $3.5 trillion. So it's already now able to support that kind of an economic growth. If India has to grow to $7 trillion and $14 trillion, we will be needing more and more construction. We will be needing more and more infrastructure, and we'll see a lot of new cities coming up. We'll see much bigger infrastructure projects, and I would not be too surprised if in next 10 to 15 years we have bullet trains running in India. So that's the kind of infrastructure which would be there, and the hard infrastructure. Then is the security tech industry. This is an industry where a lot of technology is now coming to play, and the assets, the manufacture, the industrial assets, the corporate assets, they are now, besides being manpower intensive, that's besides being intensive in terms of human beings, are also moving on towards technology to be able to protect the assets which are there in terms of the new industries coming up, the manufacturing bases, the office complexes, etc. And therefore, you will find a lot of startups coming up in the secure tech space. There is a fintech. India has been at the forefront of the fintech industry in last uh, decade or so. Our UPI transactions, which are real-time settlements, are in itself, they have kind of helped banking reach a new level of penetration or democratization, but it is still not where it can be. And it is not just the banking fintech, it is also other allied things like insurance. It is also things like small and medium enterprise loans, and similarly, a lot of fintech companies you'll find are going to be there. A lot of existing financial behemoths would start expanding in the fintech space. Then is the capital goods manufacturing. India, as of today, is heavily dependent on import of capital goods for fueling its industry and for establishing machinery and establishing complex engineering bases, which is also going. So there is a definite shift from the government to establish big manufacturing bases, and that is going to see a lot of capital goods manufacturing. Tourism. Now, tourism is something which is going to be there in for a very simple reason that with more and more disposable income coming with the economy growing, people want to go out. So India is poised to see a lot of domestic tourism increasing, not just the international tourism. And with improvement in infrastructure, with improvement in transport infrastructure, power infrastructure, we are going to also attract a very handsome number of foreign tourists because India culturally and historically is something which a lot of people want to come and explore as tourists. The thing which had not been kind of you know discouraging them was the availability of infra, which is now improving. And so tourism as a sector is expected to see both surge in domestic as well as international tourists increasing on a very handsome clip in times to come. And the last sector which is going to be there is the green industry. So you'll find a lot of and green industries offer a lot of consulting opportunities for professionals. The green industries of green buildings, the green industries of automobiles, electrical vehicles, solar power, all these industries are going to offer a very, very strong employment opportunity to individuals who have this kind of a bent of mind or who have that kind of education and skills with them. So these seven industries are going to offer higher wages because of the fact that they are now looking for talent. Although you'll have to have specialized skills and knowledge to be a part of these seven industries, they'll give you good career advancement, and some of these industries will also offer you global opportunities because these industries, say for defense manufacturing, it involves a lot of technology transfer from established defense manufacturers. Implication being armed forces officers who join defense industry now would be instrumental in getting the technology, the transfer of the technology, transfer of processes from developed countries to India. Once we start doing actual manufacturing after crossing over the first phase of being assembling those defense equipments and weapon systems, once we start manufacturing and exporting, then that will open yet another market to the Indian defense manufacturing. So there is a lot of global opportunities available. Then is the entrepreneurial opportunity. I would say the secure tech industry is especially poised in a way that the armed forces officers can find, due to their background as defense professionals, they would be able to create their own startups and do well as entrepreneurs in the secure tech industry, tourism, and so these two sectors offer them a lot of promise if they want to be entrepreneurs. And these industries also have they try and hire diverse people because they want to grow. So they offer a lot of opportunities for armed forces officers, and therefore it's a good option for them to for the armed forces officer to look at these seven industries. Now, what kind of roles are available? One is the operations, the first, and that's the core of every business, production, supply chain. So in these seven industries, any armed forces officer should or can look at an operations role, whether it is production, whether it is supply chain, whether it is projects, and they are quite open to accepting the officers there. Then HR, obviously, armed forces officers can provide the required HR support by doing the right kind of education and leveraging on their existing experience. Cybersecurity in all these industries is now emerging as a very, very strong component of the security framework, Then is consulting. Consulting, especially in defense manufacturing, in the green industries. That is where a lot of consulting opportunities are coming out. A lot of things like brand protection, business risk, business continuity, green manufacturing, then capital goods. All these things, they have a lot of consulting assignments open to armed forces officers, and they can go and explore these consulting options. Then business services, all this construction and infrastructure which is going to come up, this strong economy which is going to come up, and these new buildings, new office spaces, new industries, they will need officers from the armed forces who can provide, जिसको पहले के टाइम में एडमिन कहा जाता था, it's no more admin now, it's at a much larger and complex scale, and the volume is much higher, and they call it now business services. So these are the things where you will be able to find a lot of roles. I would say the difference in the kind of roles for the short service and the PMR officers, roles can be more towards operations, cybersecurity, key account management, basically more hands-on execution-based roles. Then if you shift towards the PMR and superannuation, or officers who are now in their late 40s and early 50s, they can be looking at human resources, business services, support, and more directorial, or so as to say, coordination and team management kind of roles. And the senior ranked officers, that's the flag staff officers and beyond, the brigadiers and beyond, the admirals and all, they would be able to find a lot of roles in the consulting, advisory, policy making, especially in defense sectors, in the green industry, and so they would be able to find consulting assignments there, and that's a very exciting opportunity coming up, and they should be looking at these things. Coming to the startup and the entrepreneurial ecosystem, all the startup and the entrepreneurial things, they have their own individual ecosystems. I would say that, if you are someone who looks to be an entrepreneur, who wishes to be an entrepreneur, then start getting into these ecosystems to understand the funding opportunities. You'll need very strong networks to find seed fundings and venture capitalist fundings, etc. And when you're doing your DGR courses, or you have an exposure to the good business schools, while if you choose to do an MBA, or during the British course, develop your network with the existing alumni there who are doing the regular 2 year or 1 year courses in those institutes. And there you can team up and have strong founding teams. You'll find a lot of people there who want to be in startups, and the secure tech industry offers that kind of an opportunity for the officers to have their own entrepreneurial ventures. And you will need tech intervention for scaling up and attracting the right kind of private equity and VC funding, which would be at the prices, or so as to say at terms which are more favorable. I can suggest, if any of you gets an opportunity, every alternate month, MDI Gurgaon, which is my alma mater, you will find they do a startup event there every 2 months. It's a free event for anyone to go and participate. The name is MDI Megaminds. You can just Google it. You'll find it on Google, MDI Megaminds. There, startups come and pitch, and there is a group of investors who pool in money to take stakes in those startups. You can go and attend that event as audience, see as to how the startup ecosystem works. But I'll very strongly recommend tourism, secure tech, and green industries as a entrepreneurial route, if any of you wishes to take that and have a career there. Now, how do you go about finding opportunities in these 7 green, or rather to say, the sunrise sectors? Is one, you'll have to ramp up your industry specific skills. Say if you want to be in the secure tech industry, you'll have to have those CISMs. If you want to be a project manager in one of the capital manufacturing industry or the construction and infrastructure industry, then you do your PMPs and those kind of certifications. You want to be an HR manager, then maybe doing a certification from the SHRM or MBA HR, etc. And then you'll have to find networks of people which are industry relevant, industry specific. Say if you want to be a secure tech professional, then start looking at being a part of ASIS, which is the American Society for Security. Similarly, if you want to be a project manager, then there are groups which the PMP itself is a part of the project management groups. So you'll have to find the relevant networks if you want to be a entrepreneur. Then there are ecosystems for supporting things like TIE and which support these startups. So while it is important that what you know, it is equally important whom you know, how many you know, and friends of friends, and at what hierarchy you know. So resumes will not get you the real jobs at your seniority. Resumes are good to be able to speak to someone, but job portals will not get you jobs at your seniority. They'll not get you entrepreneurial opportunities or the right kind of people to form teams at your seniority. For that, you'll have to have your own networks going, and when people know you, they trust you. That is when they'll start offering you the real jobs, the real kind of jobs which matter, or opportunities or money to have your own startup. So have the industry specific skills and have the industry specific networks. That's how you'll be able to break into these seven sunrise industries and have a good career post armed forces. So this was for today, and I would say that if you are focused in terms of creating the right kind of skills, creating the right kind of networks, then it's just a matter of time that you have a far better career at any stage of uh, whether you're a short service, PMR, or super animating officer coming out, and you will be able to do well. And you can start by creating your initial databases of the companies which are operating in these seven industries and start connecting with people from there, and that's how you go about it. So I am done with my part of the discussion today. You are most welcome to ask any questions you have. Just
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind.